So I've always believed that the United States of America is the greatest country on earth. But I realized recently that I've never actually challenged that idea. So in this video, I'm going to be exploring whether or not the United States of America is the greatest country on earth. And I'm also going to be asking the question, what is greatness in a country? So there's two main categories when you talk about greatness within a country. The first one is power and influence, and the second one is quality of life. Now, when it comes to power and influence in the United States of America, it's a pretty easy conversation to have. Our military is light years ahead of every other country in the world. And you may think that that's not true, but if you go look at the facts in regards to what assets we actually have versus what assets they actually have, there's no comparison, including China. A lot of people like to make that conversation more interesting than it actually is. But in regards to innovation, tech, and every branch of the military, we are dominating the world. Now we can talk about other aspects of the logistics of running or being a country, such as economy, innovation, and tech outside of the military. We lead the world in almost every regard, in regards to AI technology, computers, software, robotics, you name it, and we're in the lead. But that doesn't exactly tell the whole story, does it? We have to talk about the quality of life in the country that you live in. So that brings me to the other quantifier for greatness. This is a much more nuanced conversation because we can all admit that it is hard living in the United States of America sometimes. Our culture is a little bit hostile. Hearing about things like murder rates going up, school shootings, and people getting into incessant political arguments is not necessarily ideal. And we don't really rank at the top when it comes to happiness. When we have conversations about day-to-day life, such as happiness, education, workplace satisfaction, things of that nature, we're rarely even close to the top. Out of the developed countries in the world, we rank number 1 in regards to murder rates and crime rates. And we rank about 24th in regards to happiness. Now granted, a lot of the countries that rank higher than us in regards to happiness do rely on us in some ways for their military protection and for their economies. Now, the biggest issue I have with this conversation is most of us form our opinions about our countries without ever having lived anywhere else. And most of us even form our opinions of our countries without ever having visited anywhere else. So how is it fair to say that our country is the greatest on earth if we haven't lived anywhere else? Every country tends to teach pride in one's nation, which is just common sense, right? But at the same time, it does give us a biased view. When we talk about healthcare costs, wealth inequality, incarceration rates, and work-life balance, the United States isn't doing so well. But we're doing pretty awesome in some other areas. We lead the world in innovation, entrepreneurship, and technological breakthroughs. And our culture, our media, and our companies reach just about every corner of the globe. So is the greatest country on earth the country with the most resources and the most influence and power? Or is it the country with the highest quality of life? If you pick a different answer for a qualifier, you get two different answers for which country is the greatest. And I'm realizing that just because you believe something your entire life doesn't mean that it actually makes sense. It's not unpatriotic to ask the question. And I don't think you have to arrive at the conclusion that the United States of America is not the greatest country on earth. But I think there's some value in asking the question in the first place. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comment section.